All right, so moving forward. So we just talked about the difference between sine and cosine, well, not sine and cosine, but degree and radian. So here, first thing we're going to do, looking at all these problems, we're going to first go and pause the video and going to write them down. This is negative 45 degrees, and then that's 5 pi over 2. This is negative 3 pi over 2. Again, just to make sure anybody is like confused here. This is cosine negative 3 pi divided by 2. So that is a 3 right there, a 3. All right, so with that, go to write them down really quick. And that's 7 pi over 6. And we're going to, that's 270 pi. This is 270. 270. Ooh, that light is so bright. Let me pull it off really quick. So you see, 270. All right, so sine 270. All right, so we're going to come back, write them down really quick. We're going to go ahead and like look at the degrees or radians, the mode. All right, so you wrote them down. So looking at each one of these, we either have, like we said before, that we're either going to have degrees or we're going to have radians. It either is going to have the degree symbol or it's not. So when we look at these, that has a degree symbol right here. So it means we're in degree mode. This has pi in it, so that means it's radian. But also there's no degree symbol there, so that means it's radian. Again, we have a degree symbol here, so that's degree. And then here, there's no degree symbol, and there's a pi in it too, so it's radian. All right, then going through the rest of them, these right here do not have degree symbols in it, and it has pi, so they're radian. Remember, radian does not necessarily have to have a pi in it. It just does not have degrees. And then here, these two, these are both degree symbols. So we're going to do degree. All right, so now that we've figured out the actual mode, degree or radian, now we can go back into our calculator, either do decimals or calculator, and we actually can find the value of it, because that's what they want us to do. They want us to evaluate it, which means find the value. So with that, let me see, let me use blue. All right, so each one of these, we're going to find the value of it by looking in the calculator or decimals. So what I'm going to do, the first two, A and B, I'm going to do the desmos. And then for these two, I'm going to do the calculator, the TI-84, so that we can see them both. And then for the bottom part here, I'm going to go ahead and put it in the calculator really quick because it's already going to be in the calculator. But desmos works the exact same way. All right, so let's go ahead and go to desmos. All right, so we are in desmos. And before we do anything, we have to make sure we can get into the right mode, because we just determined the right modes for it. But looking at it, the way to get to modes is if you go and look at this wrench that's right here, and it says graph settings that pop up. Click on that. At the very bottom, you see there's x-axis, y-axis, blah, blah, blah. It has radians and degrees. So whatever one you're going to deal with, you have to deal with that mode. So you have to change it to the right mode before you can just put it into the calculator and do something. So for our first one, we said it was cosine negative 45 degrees. So we're going to click on degrees right here. And then we're going to come over here and we're going to type in cosine. And just like we had it on the paper there, negative 45. Now, the great thing about Desmos is, even in the calculator, if you click the degree mode, you don't have to put the degree symbol. So degree mode means that it's already in degrees, so you don't have to put that degree symbol. If you want to, you can, but you don't have to. All right, so we're going to write down the 3-digit. We're going to round that 3 digits, so 3 places after the decimal, the hundredths place. Sorry, the thousandth place. Whew, sorry. Once the tenths, hundredths, thousandths. So here we're going to round that. So because it's going to be rounded, it's not going to be a whole number. We're going to say it's approximately. So we put a squiggly line there. And we'll do 0.70. And then after our 7 right here, if this 1 was 5, that would go up to 8. But since it's not 5, it's less than 5, we keep it at 7. So we get that part right there. Okay, so not bad. We can do this. We got that. All right, so that's degree mode. We just put it in and we round it 3 decimal places. Every time it's 3 decimal places, if there is one. And we put here, round 3 decimal places. 3 decimal places. All right, so let's go ahead and go to our next one, which is in radian mode. So we come back here, we hit the radians, click on radians, and then we can come back here and we actually can put it in. So we do sine, put the parentheses, pull up this actual keyboard down here. So we have pi divided by 2, and then close our parentheses. And we get an answer of 1. So this one we don't have to round, so we just say it's equal to 1. So we say it's equal to 1. Oh yeah. So we have 2 of them done. So now we're going to jump to the calculator, TI-84. So if you want to do the rest of these with desmos because you don't have a TI-84, then use desmos. Do the exact same thing. Switch back and forth between degrees and radians. Just make sure that you match it up with the actual mode, and then you get an answer. But again, remember, if you do it in the wrong mode, you still will get an answer, but it'll be the wrong answer. So we need the right answer. All right, so we're going to come back and we're going to deal with our TI-84 now. All right, so now we have our TI-84. So with that, we're going to hit second quit to clear it out. And again, the only reason why I'm showing you this is because you won't always have desmos to be there with your friend. Sometimes you might have to just use a TI-84 and you have to make sure you know how to use it. All right, so again, just like we did with desmos, we have to make sure we're in the right mode. So again, this deals with degree mode. So here, we're going to click on the mode button. It says mode right there. And we have to make sure we're in degree mode. So we come down. Ooh, come down one more time. And then go over to degree and hit enter. So that way degree is highlighted. All right, so then from this point we can do second quit. And we're going to put in these. So we're going to do sine. And again, we'll do negative. Let's delete that second parenthesis. We don't need that. So we'll do negative 45. And again, because we're in degree mode already, degrees, we don't have to put that actual degree symbol. So we're just going to hit enter. And again, it gives us an approximate number because it has 3 decimal places. So approximately negative 0.707. All right. And then let's go ahead and go with our radian mode. So we're going to hit mode. We're going to go back down. We're going to deal with degrees because deal with radians because that's radian mode right here. So we hit radian. We click on enter to highlight radian. We do second quit. And we're going to put cosine negative. And for those that don't know it, we can do fractions in here too. We can do alpha y equals, hit enter there, number 1, enter. So we do 3 pi. Second and the caret button is your pi. So second and caret divided by 2. And we're going to close the parenthesis there. Hit enter. We get 0. Woo! Easy. All right, so the rest of these, we're going to do the exact same thing. We're going to do radians, degree mode. I'm going to put in the calculator. So I'm going to go ahead and do this part really quick. So I'm going to hit second and enter to pull the cosine back up. And I'm just going to change some things. So this is 7 here. This is 6. And we're going to get rid of that subtraction. We're going to hit delete on that. All right, and we hit enter there. And we get another number, a 3-digit number. But we're going to round it 3 decimal places. So negative 0.866. We'll do sine 5. Oh, let's do, alpha y equals number 1. And that'll be 5 pi second caret. Oh, where'd my 5 go? So 5 pi second caret over 3. Go over. Uh-oh. Got that part. There we go. No. That's not what I need. That one. There we go. We get that. So it's the same number. All right, and again, here the next 2 are degree modes. So we have to go back to mode. And we come down, hit degree. And we go ahead and change it. Second quit. And we put in sine 270. And again, with this part, you don't have to put the degree symbol because it's already in degree mode. So that gives me negative 1. Don't have to round it, so we don't have to put a squiggly line. And then cosine, we'll have negative 300. And we get 0.5, which is 1/2. Now, one thing I'm going to show you guys that here, but we're not going to really deal with it in this class because we don't really need to focus on it as much. But we might later on. We might. I don't know. All right. So each one of these values right here are written in a certain way. When it comes to our values, the way that it comes when the unit circle and all the stuff that comes with this part for sine and cosine, we use radian measurements for each one of these, or we not radian measurements, but values, our values. So for each one of these, there's a value for it. So we always start with 0. We have 1/2. We have square root of 2 over 2, and then square root of 3 over 2. Now you might be like, Mr. Hall, where did that come from? I promise you, if you were to actually look at cosine like negative 45 degrees, when it comes to like what you would do like in like another math class, like you might do it in college or something of that sort, you wouldn't use that 0.707. I'm using that now because it's easier for us to do that. But what you would actually use would be this part right here. They would want you to write down this part. Now, again, I'm just showing you this part, just so you can kind of see that there's actually something else that goes with it. But just know that this is like the stuff that like is important to know about. So that way, if you get to college and you see like stuff that deals with square root of 2 over 2 and 1/2 and square root of 3 over 2, you can't say, Mr. Hall never showed me how to do this. Never showed me this stuff. Like you can at least say, well, at least I remember seeing it somewhere. Mr. Hall showed it. All right, 1 stays 1. Here, the negative 0.707 is just negative, again, square root of 2 over 2. 0 is just 0. That makes sense. Just as we come here really quick, let's do this part too. We know 1/2 is 0.5, 0.5. We know that, well, we'll find out that square root of 3 over 2 is 0.866. And if you put in the calculator, put square root of 3 over 2 over square root of 3 over 2 into the calculator, you will see that it'll be 0.8662 also. All right, so we get that, and then 1 is just 1. So again, I'm showing you this part here so that way you can say that you at least have seen it before. You might not have understood it, but you saw it before. So that way if your professor in college or somebody says, yeah, you should have seen this before, you can be like, well, I did see it, but I can't remember what it was. So all we do is just change these over to those fractions. And just showing it to you. But when it comes to what we're going to deal with later on, what we're going to do with next, we're going to be dealing with just specific numbers here. So just to give you an idea and look at it. All right, cool. All right, so the next thing is now we get into the actual graphing portion. And again, with this part, if something is confusing here, it's perfectly fine. Don't worry about it. I just wanted to show it to you. All right.